the time of you watching this video, the WeissSat-1, a 1U cube satellite, will be launching out of Vandenberg, California in just 4 days. The WeissSat's one mission in space is to test extremophiles and how they react in space. The pictures you see here are both the payload and the structure of the WeissSat-1.
Welcome back. It is time for this week's What's Brewing with Stephanie. And Steph, you met students at the Weiss School in Palm Beach Gardens, which you were totally impressed with.
Oh, yes.
So great. And they're undertaking quite the project here, an advanced project. They're building their own satellites and are trying to send them into space.
I didn't even know this was a possibility, okay?
We intend to apply for a launch opportunity offered by NASA, which has a deadline of November.
The Weiss School Cube Satellite Development Team was established in 2015 with 9 students ages 10 to 12 years old. The mission for the Weiss Cube Satellite Development Team is to fly WeissSat-1, a low Earth orbit 1U CubeSat. After being selected by NASA's CubeSat Launch Initiative program, we have been manifested to the Alana 24 mission, where we will launch out of Vandenberg on a Falcon 9. We are the only middle school selected for this initiative.
Selected to assemble and launch a cube satellite, the Weiss CubeSat development team visited the University of Florida multiple times to learn about CubeSats and the engineering and design process.
The Weiss satellite team was able to go to the University of Florida to learn more about cube satellites. On the first day of the trip, Weiss students learned about the life cycle of a satellite, as well as details of SwampSat-1, the University of Florida's cube satellite. Students were also able to see the University of Florida's testing facility, where they were shown how a cube satellite actually works in the vacuum of space.
After being selected by NASA's CubeSat Launch Initiative, Weiss's CubeSat development team began to develop high-altitude balloons in order to gather data at impressive altitudes in preparation for the initial launch. This next video shows the second high-altitude balloon preparation and launch. This was a great example of how buffer time had shaped the process of ideas into reality, in this case, the WeissSat-1 launch. The picture you see here is the western side of the Bahamas. Weiss CubeSat development team's final high-altitude balloon launch before integration, testing at extreme altitudes. After lots of designing, reiteration, and assembly, the WeissSat-1 was nearly ready for launch. Last summer, a group of Weiss students visited Indiana in order to finalize and strengthen the CubeSat before testing at Kennedy Space Center. Students had also visited Melbourne, Florida in order to also prepare for testing and finalize the payload. Multiple students oversaw 2 tests, the bakeout test and the vibration test. Now that the CubeSat was finished with testing, it was ready for launch.
If we are selected in May 2018, we will hand off an authentic 1U CubeSat, and it will be flown for free on a NASA rocket.
After 2 years, the WeissSat-1 was integrated. Here is a video explaining the final moments with the CubeSat before launch.
From dates November 29th through October 1st, 6 Weiss School students accompanied Mr. Simmons to Seattle, Washington for the integration of our CubeSat, the WeissSat-1. The Weiss CubeSat development team has worked on our CubeSat for 2 years now, and the spacecraft integration represents our last moments with the satellite prior to its launch in November. Our CubeSat will investigate the viability of extremophile bacteria in orbit. We completed the first steps in the checklist by carefully unpacking and physically inspecting the WeissSat-1's exterior for any damage due to the transport. We examined the battery voltage levels to ensure we had high enough batteries to start our radios and processor once in orbit. Afterwards, students Russell and Ethan went into the tent. Their primary job was to thoroughly clean the CubeSat with isopropyl alcohol prior to its final inspection by Spaceflight Industries. They used a black light to examine the solar panels and chassis for any foreign materials. Finally, Michelle and George entered the tent and completed the integration checklists. The CubeSat was massed to be exactly 1 kilogram, and the anodized aluminum chassis was again shown to conduct 0 volts. They also inspected the dispenser tube, pulled the remove before flight pin, and loaded our satellite in the tube in front of a CubeSat built by a Spanish company. This was overall an exciting day, and we are grateful for the experience. And we're thankful to our teacher, Kevin Simmons, for the opportunity. We also want to thank Near Space Launch, NIRAD, Spaceflight Industries, NASA, Blue Cube Aerospace, and the Weiss School. We are now submitting 6 proposals this year to NASA and intend to build many more spacecraft. Join us and let's go to space.
The Weiss CubeSat development team has grown a lot over the past 3 years, and if you were in 5th grade this year, we recommend you joining us next year. Thank you.